Hello. I thought I'd make a short video about why I left Alcoholics Anonymous. And I've seen some. I just watched one video. Some young lady did a talk on why she left and involved resentments and relationships and stuff like that. My reasons for leaving AA were a little bit different. Um, I started attending, my first AA meeting was in 1972, so that was over 50 years ago. And over the course of and I started attending regularly in 1976 when I was locked up in California. And I have to say, there were some pretty decent people in AA that came in, not all, of course, that came in and talked to us inmates. And uh, even some, I think, what I look back on now, what I would call enlightened individuals that came in. And I knew some of them had something. So I attended AA meetings on the streets when I got out, and I became immersed in the AA culture. Secretary of a meeting, H&I representative. I used to go into with the H&I committee. I used to go into some institutions early on, and I went to a lot of meetings over the years. And if I really, and I've had my struggles in in sobriety. After I was 5 years sober, I got drunk. Um, I was about 1982, and due to a failing marriage. But I could never accept some of the ideas that Alcoholics Anonymous taught. I always had reservations about them, and I I took the the the, the spirituality that AA um, promotes. I took that very seriously, which is not to say that um, I didn't screw up along the way, because I certainly did. And but I did take it serious, and I began to realize some things. And like I say, I could never just accept that idea that I had a disease. Something within me would just never let me accept that idea. And I know if you look at if you read in, there's a story in the big book. It's called He Thought He Could Drink, and Dr. Bob, one of the co-founders, talking to one of his sponsees, or he's quoted as saying, "Well, it's more of a spiritual or a moral illness than it is a physical one," and that's something you don't really hear too much about in AA. You don't. It's still in the big book. They haven't taken it out yet, so it's still in there. And of course, on occasion you will hear people say something like it's dis-ease with life. Okay, I could live with that sort of thing. But my journey was, because I did take it seriously. I began not only attending AA meetings, but attending church meetings, practicing Christian meditation, and just along the way, I became I sort of became incompatible with AA, and I think some of the old time AAs were beginning to be incompatible when I got there. I was an intergroup rep in 19. Let's see, that would have been about 1970, probably about 1977, somewhere along that thereabouts there, maybe 1978. And back at that time in Orange County, California, they didn't have gay AA meetings. There weren't any. So I'd been elected to the as an intergroup rep, and one of the very first intergroup meetings that I went to, they were having a vote on whether or not to mark gay A meetings in the meeting schedule with a little g. And it was a big controversy at that time. And the 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 people that wanted the meetings marked G won out. Now, because I was a new intergroup representative, and my meeting hadn't told me how to vote on something like that, I just didn't vote. I figured that was the best thing to do. But and when I'll call them the pro-gay element of AA, pro-gay putting a meeting in there, won out. A lot of the old-time AAs were just outraged at that time. They were outraged. They didn't like what AA was becoming. And yeah. So as time progressed, and since that time it's only gotten a lot worse in AA as far as that goes. So AA right now at this time is very, if you pick up, and the book they used when I came in was the 3rd edition of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you pick up the 4th edition of Alcoholics Anonymous, you'll read stories in there like Tightrope. You can go to the AA World Services website and see stories like my name. They're stories. I'm not even going to say what they are, but you can go there. I think one of the books is Am I Different or whatever. But anyhow, within the AA as a whole, I'm sure there's individuals who still go there. I know there are, because I know some. But AA as a whole has become very accepting of homosexuality. And it's things like that I just became incompatible. What AA was doing, it became incompatible with my spiritual journey. It's incompatible. The acceptance of homosexuality is in AA is it's contrary to Christian teachings. And so just I don't think I ever really made a conscious decision to not go to AA meetings anymore. I just drifted away. And I don't need it. And I don't like that aspect of Alcoholics Anonymous. And And I've known some people. I met some longtime AA meetings. Bill Bolin, before he died, was friends with Bob Smith Jr., Dr. Bob's son. And according to Bill, um, Bob Smith Jr. was not too happy about what was going on in AA either. So that, coupled with that, just I began to realize for myself that some of the things, some of the teachings, it just wasn't true. And and I even began to speak out publicly a little bit about what was going on. And you can find, there's an article I wrote. It's called "Has Alcoholics Anonymous Lost Its Way?" I think that's the title of it. I wrote it, and I wrote it probably, geez, I'm not sure when I wrote it, 10, 20 years ago. And it's still, I believe it's still out there on the internet if you search for it. I may look for the link and put it down there. So yeah, that's what happened to me. Yeah, AA serves a purpose. I often tell people, I'd rather see people in AA meetings than out drunk driving on the road. So, but uh, AA has gotten pretty far away from its early Christian roots. And since I am a believer in Christ, and to the best of my ability with the grace that He gives me, try to live my life that way. I just find it, I just drifted away. And same thing, Narcotics Anonymous, same thing too, by the way. I went to NA meetings for years too, in later years. So anyhow, that's my story. If you have some comments you'd like to make down there, go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. I hope you find it at least a little bit informative. Thanks.